Hey everyone, welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. Today's topic might surprise you a bit. It's not just about improving your vocabulary or pronunciation. It's about healing. Real, emotional healing. Yeah, we're going there.
Yeah, this one's gonna be deep. We're talking about how learning and speaking a new language, especially English, can actually help you let go of things from your past. Things that maybe even your first language couldn't touch.
It's weird, right? Like, you'd think language is just a tool for communication, but for a lot of people, it becomes a whole new identity. A second chance. A different way to feel and think and even breathe.
Totally. I've talked to so many learners who've said, I feel like a different person when I speak English. And not in a fake way, in a freeing way. Like they're not carrying the same emotional weight.
Because here's the thing. Your first language, it's beautiful, sure, but it's also tied to every childhood memory, every label, every voice that told you who you were, or who you couldn't be.
Exactly. And sometimes, when that voice has been critical or limiting, it gets into your head. You internalize it. But then suddenly, you start learning English, and it's like, wait a second. That voice doesn't live here yet.
It's like discovering space inside yourself that no one else has touched. And maybe for the first time, you're the one deciding what kind of voice lives there.
And that's powerful. Because then English isn't just a language. It becomes a bridge. A way to reintroduce yourself to the world, and to yourself.
Think about it. How many things have you said in English that you never said in your native language? I'm proud of myself. I deserve more. It's okay to start over.
Yes. And not just the words, but how you feel when you say them. Like you finally believe them, because they're not loaded with old stories.
And the more you speak in this new voice, the more the old one starts to fade. Or at least, it loses some of its control.
So if you've ever felt like English is helping you grow in more ways than one, you're not imagining it. It's real. It's valid. And honestly, it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. Because sometimes, healing doesn't come from talking about the past. It comes from rewriting the present. Word by word. Sentence by sentence.
And it's not just emotional stuff, right? Even things like anxiety or self-doubt, somehow, speaking in a new language can soften them. Like you're not as hard on yourself.
Yeah, because in your native language, you might have all these automatic thoughts, like, I always mess this up, or, I'm not smart enough. But when you're speaking English, you're slower, more intentional, and sometimes, gentler.
Exactly. It's like a pause between what you feel and what you say. And in that pause, there's space. Space to choose a new message.
And maybe even to start believing it. I mean, think about how many people say things like, I can do this, in English, even though they've never told themselves that in their own language. It's like the new language gives you permission.
I've even had students tell me they journal only in English now, because it feels safer. More neutral. Less emotional weight.
That makes sense. Sometimes your native language is full of family pressure, cultural expectations, old pain. But English? It's like a blank notebook. You get to decide what goes on the page.
It kind of becomes your personal therapy language, even if you're just learning basic sentences. I'm tired. I want a better life. I don't want to be afraid anymore. Those are small sentences with massive emotional weight.
Exactly. And no one talks about this part of language learning. Everyone's focused on fluency and accuracy and grammar tests. But no one tells you that learning English might also be the thing that helps you breathe a little easier at night.
And honestly, that might matter even more. Because fluency is great, sure, but healing. That changes everything. That changes you.
It's wild to think that something as technical as language could be so emotional. But the more people I meet, the more I realize it's happening all the time.
Totally. I think we need to stop seeing language as just a skill. It's also a doorway. A doorway to a new version of you, one that's not trapped in old pain.
Yeah. And the most amazing part? You're the one walking through it. No one's doing it for you. You're choosing to open that door, one word at a time.
And you know what's interesting too? A lot of people feel like their accent is something to be ashamed of, but sometimes, that accent is proof of resilience. Of everything you've survived, and how far you've come.
Yes. Like, your accent tells a story, not just about where you're from, but about what you've overcome. It's not a weakness. It's a record of your courage.
Exactly. And when you start seeing it that way, even your pronunciation becomes something you're proud of, not something you're trying to hide.
And I think that shift, from shame to ownership, is such a big part of healing. Because in your first language, maybe you were told you were too loud, too sensitive, not smart enough, but in English, you get to rewrite that.
Right? You get to decide what kind of person you are now. And sometimes, that person is someone who speaks slowly, carefully, bravely, and that's okay. That's powerful.
And maybe that's why so many people say they feel lighter when they speak a second language. It's like they've stepped out of the old story.
I love that. And I think a lot of people need to hear this, that it's okay if English feels emotional. That's not strange. That's human. It means your words matter.
Absolutely. It means you're not just learning English, you're learning to express yourself in a way you've never been able to before. That's not just language learning. That's transformation.
And it's so personal. Like, no one else can really understand the emotions behind your sentences. Only you know how heavy or freeing each word really is.
Yeah, like saying, I'm okay, in English might be a tiny sentence for someone else, but for you, it could mean years of pain, finally spoken. Finally released.
And those little moments, they build up. One honest sentence after another, until suddenly, you realize, you've healed more than you thought. Just by speaking. Just by showing up.
And I think that's something to celebrate, even if no one else sees it. Because it's your journey. And your voice, in any language, deserves to be heard.
You know, Nick, I remember talking to a learner once who said she never felt safe enough to say no in her own language. But in English, it came out easier. Like, she had to learn how to say no in a grammar lesson, and that tiny phrase gave her a kind of power she didn't know she had.
Wow. That's powerful. Imagine needing a second language just to protect your boundaries. It says a lot about how language and self-worth are connected.
Right? And for her, English wasn't just a new way to talk. It was a new way to take up space in the world. She said, "When I speak English, I'm not the scared girl I used to be." I'll never forget that.
And that's why I always say, don't let anyone reduce your English journey to just tests or certifications. This is so much more than that. This is inner work. This is healing work.
Yeah. And healing doesn't always come in big dramatic moments. Sometimes it's just you, whispering a sentence out loud for the first time, and realizing, it didn't hurt. It actually felt good.
And even the mistakes, they are part of the healing. Because in your first language, maybe mistakes got you judged or laughed at. But in English, you start realizing, it's okay to be imperfect and still be understood.
It's okay to be a work in progress. And honestly, that's what we all are, right? Learning, growing, unlearning, trying again. And English, for so many people, becomes the space where that growth is allowed.
I think that's the real gift. Not just the language itself, but what it represents, possibility, freedom, change. It's not just vocabulary. It's permission to become who you really are.
And that's something worth holding on to. Especially on the hard days, when you forget how far you've come. Just remember, every sentence you speak is proof that you're moving forward.
Even if your voice shakes. Even if you forget a word. Even if your accent is thick. It still counts. You still count.
Always.
You know, Emily, something else I find fascinating is how learning a new language can almost create a kind of emotional reset. Like, when you say things in English, sometimes the feelings attached to those words in your first language don't carry over.
Yeah, it's like the words come with a different energy. You might say, I forgive myself in English and it feels lighter, like it has space to actually happen. Whereas in your native tongue, those words might be tangled with guilt or shame.
Exactly. It's as if the new language lets you practice emotions you didn't know you could feel or express before. You get to experiment with kindness, confidence, even self-love.
And that experimentation is so important because it rewires how you think about yourself. When you practice speaking positively in a new language, it becomes easier to believe those things over time.
It's almost like the language becomes a kind of therapy session, but with words you're carefully choosing. And every sentence you say out loud reinforces a new way of seeing yourself.
And the more you do it, the more natural it feels. Until one day, you realize the old negative thoughts don't have the same hold on you anymore. They are still there sometimes, sure, but they don't control the narrative.
That's the healing, right? Changing the narrative you tell yourself. And for many learners, English isn't just a foreign language, it's a new way to rewrite that story.
It's beautiful to think about. And it reminds us that language is never just words. It's identity, emotion, memory, and with every new phrase, you're building a new you.
So, if you're on this journey of learning English, or any new language really, remember it's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about giving yourself permission to heal, to grow, and to become someone new, someone you truly believe in.
Absolutely. Your new language is your new voice, and that voice has so much power. Use it kindly, use it bravely, and don't be afraid to let it carry your story forward, one word at a time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of British Accent Podcast. We hope this conversation gave you a little extra courage to speak not just English, but your truth.
We'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, be gentle with yourself and keep speaking your new story.